Good evening, everybody. How are you doing today? Can you hear me clearly? If you can hear me, can you just let me know that you can hear me? Yes, you can. Okay. Good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good evening. Good evening. Just share the link, invite someone who needs to be here today. Just go ahead and share the link. It's 7 o'clock. Share the link, invite somebody to come in and join the meeting. Share the link, invite someone who needs to be here today. Just go ahead and share the link. Okay, good evening. Good evening, Esther. Good evening, Bukola. Good evening. We have 10 people in the room. Please go ahead and invite more people, and then we'll start the meeting. We have 12 people. If you're in the room with me, could you just drop your name and tell me where you're watching from? What's your name and where you're watching from? You're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. Your name and where you're watching from. Okay. Good evening, Kemi Ayodele. Good evening. Welcome, Olayinka Shumwe. Welcome, Aderayo Banke, Yinka Olaokun, Olokun, welcome. Please just tell us where you're watching from. I'd like to know where you're connecting from. It really would do a lot. Your Wumi is watching from Lagos. Yes, very good. Can we have your names where you're watching from? Lucy is connecting from Ogun State. Okay. Can we have more people? Can I have you where you're watching from? Oluwakemi Ayodele from Lagos. Folakemi from Ibadan. Good. Olamide from Scotland. What's the weather like there in Scotland right now? Pretty cold, I hear. Oluwatoyin Bamdele from Lagos. Aderayo Banke from Ogun State. Ijebu Ode, that's my husband's town. Okay, let me hear. We have 19 people in the room, and I'd like to know where all. Okay. Busayo Akinola from Toronto, Canada. Esther Kuti from Lagos. Okay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Please tell us where you're joining us from. Please let me know where you're joining from. Kemi Ayodele from Lagos. Wumi from Ogba. Folakemi from Lagos. Oluwaseyi from Lagos. Oh, yes. Just let me know where you're joining in from. I'm just waiting for the number to get to 25, and then we'll start. You're all welcome. I really am so thrilled to have you join me this evening. Thank you for joining. Lucy from Ogun State, yes. Titi Fashawe from Lagos. Rachel Olowe from Ojodu. Okay. Anybody else? Let me hear. Welcome, welcome. In case you know someone who needs to be in this meeting, I'd just like you to send the link for this meeting to them to join us. Just share the link with someone who needs to be in this meeting as we wait for the room to have 25 people, and then we'll start. Deola Ogunlesi from Abuja. I heard there's a curfew in Abuja today. It should have been lifted by now. It's 6 p.m. already. Thank you for joining. Adebukola Davis from Lagos, you're welcome. Thank you. Tolu from Ogun State. I have a few people from Ogun State. Where in Ogun State are you joining from, Tolu? Jeremiah from Lekki. Thank God, I finally get a man's voice. Jeremiah, you're welcome. It's so good to have you in the room with us from Lekki. Thank you for joining. Joy from Lagos. Okay. We're 24 now. Just wait for one more person and then we'll go on. Please share the link, invite somebody to join. I promise you this is going to be a very enlightening session. Joy from Lagos, Jeremiah from Lagos. Do we have more males in the house? Are there more males in the room? If you're a male, please could you just write your name and tell me where you're joining from? Just say, yes, I'm male and I'm proud to be a man. So I have just Jeremiah here that I can see. If there's anybody else in the room that is a man, please let me know. Okay, Tolu Oyelade, you're joining from Abeokuta. That's my town. You're welcome, Tolu. It's so good to have you in the room with us today. Where are the men now? Please invite one man, invite two men, invite a man that you know needs to be here. Just go ahead and share the link and invite somebody. Agbola Hall, man number 2. He's joining us all the way from Scotland. Thank you very much for joining us, Agbola Hall. It's so good to have you in the room. So we have 2 males, white. Fantastic. Thank you very much for joining Agbola Hall. You're all welcome, welcome, welcome to this meeting today. So good to have you. I'm delighted to have you in the room today. So one thing I'd like to ask you, I mean, you have an idea of what the topic is. I just want you to tell me what your expectation concerning this meeting is. Why are you here? What's your expectation? Can you just go ahead and type same in the chat? Just write that for me and let me know. What is your expectation? You know, like we know in scriptures, it says the expectation of the righteous will not be cut off, it will be granted. So I'm just asking you in the room today, why are you here today? What do you hope to go away with in this Parenting in Harmony seminar? Please write your expectation in the room. I'd like to know. Please go ahead very quickly. Just share with me your expectations before we go on. What is your expectation regarding this meeting? I'm waiting. What is your expectation? What would you like to go away with? Thank you for joining, Mojirayo from Lagos. Thank you for joining. So now I'm asking what our expectation regarding this meeting is. What would you like to go away with? You know, I'm a teacher by training, and it's always so nice to know what people are expecting. And so by the time we're done, you'll be able to evaluate to know if the expectation was met. So what is your expectation? I'm waiting. I'm sure you're typing. Who's going first? I'm waiting. Our expectations for this meeting, we have 30 people in the room already, and the meeting has started. So what is your expectation from this meeting? What do you hope to go away with? Anybody wants to go? Anybody wants to share that? Oh, thank you very much for going first, Tolu Oyelade. Thank you. You want to understand your children and their emotions better, to know better ways to handle them. Fantastic. Esther Kuti says to learn new things that can make her exceptional in her parenting journey. Thank you very much. Thumbs up. Jeremiah, thank you. Would like to be able to learn what it means for a parent to grow harmony with their child. Thank you very much for your expectation. So I have 3. Oh, and then I have a Marvelous is saying, okay, from Ondo, you're joining in from Ondo. Thank you. Can I have you give me your expectations? So I have here Busola Akinola saying, glean from my knowledge of parenting. Thank you very much for the kind words. Tolu Oyelade wants to understand why understand the children's emotions better and to know better ways to handle them. Also, Jeremiah would like to know how to grow in harmony with the child. Okay. Things to learn about the future. Somebody said understanding children's emotions. Lucy Fanny says something different from her practice as a parent. Someone says learn to understand the teenage son better. Wow, this is really interesting. I'm really glad to read all these. And these expectations, I promise you honestly, will be sorted out even if everything is not met in this meeting, but it will be sorted out. Let me just read one more and then we can go on. I would like to keep to time. Folake Oshimefun is saying that she would like to have more insight to handle preteen and teen children, to relate more with quiet and reserved children. Brilliant, brilliant expectations. Adeomi Temilade wants to know how to be a better parent and to handle them better. I really love this. I love what everybody has said here. But then let me just start off and just say welcome again to everybody. I'm really glad that you're here today. And so we're going to start off. I'm going to begin to share my screen. And by the time we get into what we're talking about, you will see that this meeting may not meet all those expectations you're talking about right now, but I promise you honestly, so many other things will be attended to, and I'll explain to you why. So I'm sharing my screen. Can we see? Okay. So what we're talking about today is parenting in harmony. Parenting in harmony, and it's about 5 secrets for parenting as a team. So if you look at that topic already, it can tell you that we're not exactly talking about the children today, we're talking about ourselves. So it's 5 secrets to you as a parent, to me as a parent, so that we can work together as a couple, as a team, even with our busy schedule. Of course, we've done our welcomes. I've welcomed you all into the room, and I really am thrilled to have you today. So I'll just go on. So I'd like to tell you about me. Some of you may know, some may not know. So I'd like to tell you why it is I believe I'm a good person to be sitting here, to be having this meeting with you. So first, I have over 3 decades of working with families, and these 3 decades span across different areas of my life, different spheres of my life, really. I've worked over 3 decades as an educator. I've worked in the school system for over 35 years. And when I say that, I've worked as a class teacher, I've worked as a head of school, I've worked as consultant working with schools as well. And so that tells you in essence that I've had a feel of parents, I've had a feel of the students, I've had a feel of a cocktail of different kind of parents in my journey as an educator. I've also been a school administrator, like I said earlier. I've worked as a family coach also, guiding families, working as a marriage coach, working as a parenting coach, also working with people who want to get married. So we're getting it right before we get into the marriage institution. And that also, I'm a certified counselor. I'm faith-based, to be honest with you. Finally, I'm a minister in the Church of God. I've been an ordained minister since 2000, the year 2000, and I serve in my local church as a minister. So this is all you need to know about me: educator, school administrator, family life coach, counselor, and minister. So I want to explain to you one of the reasons why this is really a major for me. I'm not just doing it because I want to do this. I'm not just doing this because everybody is doing it. I'm doing it based on the foundation I had, how that affected my life, and how I'm also seeing the same pattern in a lot of lives. For those who are familiar, I grew up in what you would call a dysfunctional home. Even at that time, I didn't understand what it meant. I didn't know that was what it was. And so because of the dysfunction in the home, what happened to me? I found myself seeking validation elsewhere but home. So every opportunity I had, any relationship I got into, either with the female or the male gender, I was also always looking for people to validate me. I wasn't sure about myself. I had low self-worth. I didn't understand who I was. I didn't even know what marriage was about, because deep down me, I kept saying to myself, I didn't think I wanted to get married. Why? Because what I saw as marriage in my growing up days, the kind of relationship I saw my father and my mother have, was one that kind of said to me, I don't want to be a part of this. So when I say I'm talking family life coach, it's from the experience I've had in my growing up days, but also interestingly, I'm beginning to see the same pattern repeat itself in so many lives in many homes. I'm seeing a lot of children growing up in dysfunctional homes. I'm seeing teenagers, I'm seeing youths, I'm even seeing adults. Yes, I work with adults. I'm seeing adults, grown adults, still seeking validation from other people because they have low self-worth and they just don't understand who they are. But then guess what? My story didn't end there. I met with Christ and then I got restoration. And so I said to myself, with everything I've gone through, all the experiences I've had, with the experiences I've had working in the school system, with the experiences I've had being a minister in the Church of God, counseling different people and seeing different patterns, and I would call them negative patterns beginning to happen, even in the Christian families. I said, God, what do I do? And the Holy Spirit said to me, these things are for your examples. Everything you have gone through personally, and even from the experiences of other people, is for you to help others to grow and to be better people. So that's my personal journey and how it relates. So what is my promise to you in this meeting? What are you going to get at the end of this session? Like I said, this is not about how to be a parent to a teenager, how to handle my adolescent child, how to be with my very tiny baby. No, this is not what it is about. Because the Bible says, if the foundation is destroyed, what can the righteous do? A lot of people are wanting to build on a foundation that is faulty. So what the Lord said to me in this meeting, to do with this meeting, is first deal with the adults who want to train the children. Yes, you heard me right. You cannot begin to talk about you being a parent or a good parent, or both of you being good parents, if there's no harmony in your home. So that's why we're starting with this. So at the end of this meeting, this session, you will see why parenting tension happens. Why is there tension with most parents? You will see how the misalignment of the couples, husband and wife, you will begin to see how it affects the lives of these children. You will also see 5 practical shifts, because what we're doing here, we're not just highlighting the problems. I'm not just going to be talking about the challenges and the things that happen. We're also going to be highlighting here in this meeting 5 very simple practical shifts that you can do, and that will begin to create harmony in your family. And then also how to begin to improve partnership immediately. I've said all that to say this meeting, let me repeat, this session is not how to be a good parent, how to discipline your children, how to treat your adolescent child. No, this meeting is for you, is about you, mom, is about you, dad, is about both of you, or those who are even co-parenting. It's about how you can begin to work together in harmony before you even begin to talk about getting clarity at how to deal with the children God has blessed you with. So are we clear about that? This is the promise concerning this meeting. Can I go on? Is that fine with you? So we go on. So what's the key foundation concerning this meeting? I found out that when people come to me to talk to me about the challenges they have in parenting, I've observed that 85% of the time, and please, yes, I stress that and I repeat it, 85% of the times when parents come to me to talk to me about having issues with their children, it is not always about the child. 85% of the time when we have worked with these parents over time, when I have listened to them and eventually I get to speak with the children involved, it is not always about the child. Most of the times is about communication gaps that the parents have with themselves and dealing with themselves. It's about the stress and pressure that these parents are going through. Either the mom is going through pressure or the father is going through pressure. And a lot of times there's a lot of transferred aggression and the children now begin to react. It's also about the different upbringing backgrounds. So when you're people from different backgrounds, what happened? A lot of times it's very difficult for you to enjoy the synergy that should be there, because we are influenced by what we are bringing into the marriage. And so a lot of times, most parents do not unlearn. And so this is the way my mother has done it. You now bring it into your marriage and into your parenting for this child in this generation, and it just doesn't work out. What else happens? I've also observed that sometimes it has to do with unspoken expectations, and we're going to really dig into that. And so what happens, you now find that the children are not only responding to what their parents are saying. So when you have a child that has a challenge and you're going on, Mrs. Ibita, I need you to talk to my child. I need you to work with my son. I need you to work with my daughter. Most times we will come to the realization, working over time with the parents and the children, we will see that these children are not just reacting to what their parents are saying. So you're giving your child instructions. This is what I want you to do. This is what I want you to do. This is how I want you to behave. No, we have observed that the children are reacting more to the emotional climate that is happening between their parents. Yes, you heard me correctly. So it is not so much as the child that has a problem. What you are seeing, the reaction you are receiving is just your child reacting to the emotional climate between you and your husband or you and your partner. And this climate most times will create lack of security and confusion in the hearts of the children. Did you hear me there? So parenting challenges, 85% of time is not about the child. It is basically about lack of communication, that is communication gaps. It's about stress and pressure being faced by the adults and not necessarily the child. It's about the different upbringing backgrounds that we have that has now infiltrated into this new home. So you're seeing people who are not unlearning what they need to unlearn so they can get a full understanding of the way to go in where they are. And so this is the key foundation for this meeting today. And so I repeat again, it is not a meeting about you learning on how to be with your child, but first about you and your spouse getting it right before we go to the children. So, like the Bible says, it says, physician, heal yourself. So we're here for healing. Mother and father, you're here for healing. We're here to put the searchlight on ourselves to see the areas we are erring in our harmony as parents and to see the way it is affecting the children. The first thing I'd like to share with you, I said I'm going to be sharing with you 5 secrets that I've observed over the years. And I promise you, honestly, this has come from quietly watching patterns. And it's not limited to these 5, but these are the ones that reoccur the most when I work with people. The first secret I'd like to share with you, for you to have parenting harmony as parents, as husband and wife, so that there can be peace in your home. The first thing I'd like to beg of you is begin to work on partnership before parenting. Yes, partnership before parenting. You see, partnership here is when 2 people choose to function as one united team. So it doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter the amount, the level of experience you have. It doesn't matter the qualification you have. What we're talking about here is that the strength of your relationship as a couple is based on the stability and the influence of the partnership you have with one another. If you're not in synergy as parents, as partners, if you're not working together as husband and wife in partnership, do you now begin to talk about parenting? But most times people just jump into the fact that I want to be a good parent. I want to be a good parent. But you've forgotten the fact that the child didn't come from one person. It's not one person that is involved in the life and the affairs of this child. It is 2 people. So it is essential for us as parents to begin to think more and work more on the partnership we have with our spouses before we talk about parenting. So what do the children notice first? I recall a teenager said to me at one time, she went, okay, so the parents had reported her to me. They'd gone on about the fact that she was cutting classes. She was being rude. I mean, they just couldn't understand what was happening with her. And she said to me, I know my parents love me a lot, but the problem I have is I wonder if they care or love one another. Did you hear what I said? So you find out that the children are not just growing in that home. So you're not just saying, this is my home, BC Bitaya. This is the home where my children are growing in. Your children are growing also in the climate, the emotional climate that you're creating for them. So I ask you today, what emotional climate are you and your spouse creating for the children? Are you working in partnership? Or are you more concerned about wanting to parent? Because you see, one of the reasons I asked us there about what exactly it is that we are talking about here. What do you want to gain from here? I had a lot of us talking about what you want to do with your children. But the first thing I want you to do for you to parent in harmony, for you to have that kind of home, the kind of family that will give you peace of mind, is to begin to consider partnering with your partner, if I can put it that way, or partnering with your spouse before you talk about parenting. Now, how do I know that our partnership is weak? What are the signs to show that partnership is weak? The first thing I'll talk about is that there's communication breakdown. Oh, you're just not communicating the way you should be. You're not talking to one another. There's an emotional disconnect. you are more like strangers in the home. You're not feeling yourselves. And so you're not even talking again, because how can you talk when you're not in partnership with one another? One person is going this way. The father is thinking this way. The mother is thinking another way. There is total communication breakdown. There's an emotional disconnect. And you need to begin to evaluate your life. If you and your partner are not communicating the way you should, that means your partnership with one another is weak. And there's no way you can begin to parent in harmony. The second thing I noticed is that one parent will begin to be consistently sidelined. So what happens? There's a lot of like, this is the way I want to do it. That's the way you want to do it. Let me do it my way. I want to do it my way. So everybody goes their way. And then you now talk about the fact that you both want to align when it comes to your children. It's impossible, because what happens next is that the children are caught in the middle. They don't know where to swing. They don't know who to go with. They're confused because it is obvious that both their parents are going different ways. Partnership is very essential for you to be a good parent, for you to work effectively at being a good parent, because we leave these children confused. And so you have a teenager who is misbehaving. You don't understand what is happening. But the point is, it's just because he sees a lack of synergy between you and the father, or between you and the mother. And so because one person is always being sidelined, one person is more important, it's just not working out. And then finally, you begin to see that resentment builds up in the home. And concerning all the secrets I'm going to be sharing with you, there is always that resentment that builds up at the end of the day. Why? Because the communication line has broken down. They're not talking much again. There's an emotional disconnect. I don't want to know anything about him. I'm minding my business. Everybody is minding their business in the home. And you're telling me to teach you how to be a parent to a teenager, when the teenager is even confused that both parents cannot handle their own lives. Children caught in the middle, resentment builds up. The children are hating you. You're hating the children. Everybody is just going one way or the other. So I ask myself, what do we do? How would we strengthen partnership in our marriages? So as parents, the first thing I'd like you to do is start by acknowledging that you have a problem. And that's always a difficult place, I've realized, with parents. When things happen, they want to focus more on the child that they believe is being problematic. They do not want to acknowledge the fact that they are the ones that probably have a problem. Okay, some time ago, I was talking to a teenager. No, not a teenager, a youth. He's a 22-year-old guy. And the mother was very concerned about him, felt like he was being mean to his siblings. They were just not getting on very well and whatever. And so when she came to me, all she kept on hammering on, she called me actually, she doesn't live in Nigeria. All she kept hammering on was the fact that her son was misbehaving. And she just didn't think there was any other problem aside from that. By the time I had my sessions with the guy, I realized that it came from the problems with his parents. And so I had to go back to the mom and the father, but then they were not ready to acknowledge that they were a problem. And so the first thing they said to me, Mrs. Vita, I don't mind him. He's always shifting blames. He doesn't. So you cannot parent in harmony when you and your partner do not acknowledge the fact that there's a problem. Because there really is a problem. If there's an emotional disconnect, there's a problem. If one party is being sidelined, there's a problem. If the children are now caught in the middle, there's a problem. The second thing I'd like you to do for you to begin to work in partnership is there's a need for you to prioritize your relationship. Before the children came, we were friends. I see that a lot. But once the children come, what happens? Attention now shifts from being friends or having a good and a beautiful relationship with your partner. It now moves your attention to the children. And so what happens? There's a disconnect emotionally. So it's essential for us, if we want to go ahead and you want to be a good parent, you want to be one who knows how to parent the way you should be, it's important that you prioritize your relationship with your spouse. And some people are saying to me, but what if we're separated? What if we're no longer married? For you to work in partnership, to be good parents in the lives of those children, it is important that you have a cordial relationship. So there's a need for you to sit down, acknowledge the fact there's a problem, and begin to prioritize the relationship. The third thing I'd like you to do is, before you take decisions in your family, it's essential for you to have private discussions before you take those decisions. Yes. So don't just come and say, this is what we're going to do in the presence of your children. Both of you should sit down, have private discussions first between both of you. Let those discussions so that you do the agreement, you do the disagreement, and what happens? At the end of the day, you are not able to present a united front to the children. Of course, the children are spared of all the arguments. They know this way, know that way. By the time they now see you coming to talk to them about what exactly you want to talk about, they see a united front and they are spared everything that has gone on in your private decisions. Am I making sense? So when you have those private discussions, you exclude the children from the emotional stress, emotional breakdown, from the confusion of watching you, both of you go your separate ways in your arguments and not aligning. They now see you coming forward to present a united front to them. Also, I'd like to advise you to have regular check-ins. What do I mean by that? You ask questions. I find that especially from this part of the world where we come from in Africa, people don't ask questions. You're very quiet about certain things. There's a need for us to sit down. So how are you doing? What's happening here? You're talking to the child. You're talking to your spouse. You're making comments. You're making contributions where necessary. You're not just assuming. The problem is because when we do not do the regular check-ins, when you're not asking your spouse questions, when the spouse is not asking the other one questions, we work on assumptions. And when we work on assumptions, there's confusion. So there should be regular check-in, even with the children. You're asking questions. You're wanting to know. So what is happening? When you do the check-in with your spouse, it shows that there's a connection. It shows that there's partnership. You are carried along with what is going on in the mind of that person, and you are able to work together. The last thing I'd like to say on this working together in partnership is that there's a need for us to appreciate each other's efforts. Please don't disdain what anybody is doing. If what this person is doing is paying the fees, and what is this, just learn to say thank you. Learn to say thank you, not just you saying thank you. Make the children also say thank you. I remember when my children were growing up, anytime their fees were paid, they would have to say thank you to their father and say thank you to me. They learned to say thank you to me for cooking their meals for them. It was just a pattern. It was important. And what did that do? That made me feel appreciated. So it wasn't a case of like, it's only because it's only food I'm cooking. I'm not important. No, there's a need for the speech pouts to appreciate each other's effort. And also there's a need for the children also to appreciate the efforts from both parents. And so they're not feeling like, okay, it's daddy that pays the fees, mommy doesn't do anything. The fact that the mother picks the child from school every day is also a sacrifice. So there must be appreciation in the family. All parties concerned must learn to appreciate themselves. So I've talked about the first one, which is partnership over parenting. The second secret I'd like to share with you for you to have harmony in your relationship as parents, for you to parent effectively. The second secret I'd like to talk to you about is alignment over agreement. Alignment over agreement. I'm sure somebody there is saying, what does she mean? Alignment over agreement in what sense? Well, isn't it the same thing? No, trust me, I'm a teacher, so I wouldn't make that mistake. Alignment means that you do not agree or think the same way about something. I mean, you have different views about something, but there's a need for you to move in the same direction. And so you continue to work together. Agreement says we must do everything the same way. No. Alignment says we may do things differently, but we want the same things for our children. Let me explain to you. Alignment is like, I don't know if it's happened to you before. You're in the vehicle with your spouse or you're traveling with some people. And one person is saying, we'll go this way. Another person says, no, this route is better. But between both of you, you have agreed that there's one destination you're going to. And so one route or another route, the most important thing is you're focused on how to get there. So if you do agree to go with this person's route, the point is you're all both going to agree at the same place. I've said that to say this. There's a lot of disharmony in families because they want to agree concerning everything. No, it's not. You will never always agree on everything together. But the point is, you must be aligned. That means you know that you're moving the same way. You share the same like the end. That's it. Let me put it that way. You both know the end, which is the child, the well-being of the child in question, and you're both working in that way. Let me explain to you what I mean here. There's an example that a woman once shared with me. She said, me, I will say yes, but my husband will say no. My husband will discipline, and then I will soften up. And slowly what happens? The children became confused. And the children began to learn very mischievously how to divide the parents. Did they love each other? Yes, they loved each other, but they were not aligned. They were set in their ways and they forgot the main thing, which was more important. And so I'm asking myself, what is really more important in this issue at hand? It is the children. What is important concerning the children? They arrive at a particular destination in their destiny. Okay, so how do we go about it? That you need to begin to agree on. But when you're aligned, even when there's disagreement between both of you, you always come back to focus on that one thing that you want to achieve in the lives of the children. So it's not a case of one person says yes. And the woman was just like, we are confusing the children. Mrs. Ibitaya, my husband is confusing the children. And I'm saying in my mind, it's not just your husband, because when he's disciplining and you are softening up, you are also contributing to this because you're not aligned in the values you have as your family. So what are the signs of misalignment in homes? What are the signs? You will see one parent constantly overruling the other. This is the way I want it to be, and that's the way it's going to be. No harmony at all. And then you want to learn how to parent your teenage child, or you want to learn how to be a good mother or a good father to your adolescent. It's not possible. You cannot continually be one person overruling the other person, making the person feel insignificant. I've had cases of like, will you keep quiet? I'm the man of the house. I'm the one that needs to talk about it. That is misalignment. So if that's the way your family is running, there's a big problem. You cannot parent effectively or efficiently because it will always, and I repeat, always tell on the children. Another sign that you see is that there's always frequent contradictions. And this one can be very confusing to the children. What happens? Okay, so because you and your spouse have an argument, there's a disagreement over something that is not related to parenting or related to the children. Both of you had agreed that the children would always have their bedtime at 8 p.m. But just because you had an argument or a disagreement with your spouse, what happens? You now get up. You now say to the child, sit down. Okay, let me use the example of no TV during the week on school days. And so the mother comes back from work at 8:30 and finds her 7-year-old watching TV at 8:30. And she calls the child's name and goes, Junior, why are you doing? And Junior says, Daddy says it's okay. And Daddy also, because there's misalignment and there's some argument, Daddy says, yes, I said so, so it's okay. And what happens? You go, Junior, go back to your room. Junior is looking between mommy and daddy and wondering what is happening. My dear parents, you are contradicting yourselves and you are confusing the children. You are contradicting. You're just so, every time you see in your home that there's a high level of contradiction, the mom says it's fine to do this. The daddy says, no, it's not fine to do this. Because both of them have issues, there's a sign of misalignment. The third sign, please, these signs I'm talking about is not limited to these signs. The third sign you would observe is that you don't have conversations about parenting values. Every time I have opportunities to speak to couples, marriages, at maybe marriage seminar or couples evening, or I'm talking at parenting meetings, I always ask a question. I ask them, what are your family values? And I'm asking you also, as you're watching me now, what are your values? What are the family values you ask? Please, if you know, can you just write in the comment section very quickly? What are the values that your family holds dear to? What are the values that you hold to in your family? I'd like to know. A lot of times, most parents don't have conversation about parenting values. You don't even know what you stand for. They say if you don't know what you stand for, you will fall for anything. So when you are not in harmony concerning the values that are important in your family, how can you be a good parent? Why are you running around looking for seminars that will teach you how to do this with your children when you yourself, you need to be taught on how to understand what it is to be a parent? So what are your family values? Are you writing in the comment section? Are you writing it? I'd like to know what your family values are. What are the values you hold on dearly? If I walk into your children, if I call, like I said, okay, I called your child today. I say, Esther, is this Esther's son? She goes, yes. I'm like, oh, Esther's son, how are you? How are you doing? I believe that you're doing fine. And I say to Esther's son, so what are the values that your family holds? What are the family values? What keeps you going? Someone says excellence, fantastic, I like that. Another person says integrity, fantastic. Please, I'd like to hear, what are the values? If I ask your children today, that what are the values that hold them together as a family? What are the values your parents have put in you that you have run with? Please, I'd like you to please write it in the comments. I want to see, what are the values? What are the values? If you don't have values, how can you begin to guide the children right? There cannot be alignment because 1 minute the values are going up this way, another minute is off tangent. There's no harmony concerning that. So when you do not have shared conversations, I see only 2 people respond. Self-discipline, amazing. Kindness, excellence, integrity, and empathy. Fantastic. I'm clapping for you where I'm at right now. And I'd like to ask you a question. Do your children, do your family, do they know? Do you all know in your family that you share those values? Are they values that you share with one another? So when there are no conversations about parenting values, then you are misaligned. The last thing I'd like to talk about is that, thank you, please keep it coming, kindness and empathy. Olamide, thank you very much. So what happens when there's misalignment? Let me tell you another sign you see. Your children will begin to exploit the division. They will play you as parents against one another. I'm sure it's happened to some of you before. When the children observe that, see harmony, no day. There's no harmony between my parents. There's disagreement. They are having their issues again. What happens? The children begin to capitalize on this. And what happens? They will get into trouble ultimately. They will play you against one another. When they see that you're having one of those, I don't want to talk to you. It's your fault. It's not my fault. And because of that, I'm cutting the boundaries. I'm not listening to the boundaries. We're cutting the line. What happens? The children will see this and they begin to play on this intelligence and they begin to play you against one another. And so you're talking to your son about something that you have agreed with your spouse. But because your spouse has released or reduced the boundaries, he has reduced the lines. The child now says, but mommy, daddy says it's okay now. What kind of harmony is that in the family? How do you want to parent effectively? How do you want to be able to stand and say you're doing the right thing when these signs are there? So it's always screaming. One person overrules another. Frequent contradictions. No shared conversations about parenting values. Children exploit this division and they play you against one another. Thank you very much, Folakesho Mefu. You said integrity, honesty, respect, kindness. Fantastic. And so how do we deal with this? I've talked about the signs of misalignment. That's the second secret. How do I build alignment in my family? The first thing I like to beg everybody in this meeting to do, if you've never done it before, please sit down and write the core values for your family. Sit down with your spouse, sit down with your children. This is one of the ways you can have harmony in your family. When you get home today or when you leave this meeting, talk to your husband. If you don't know already, please, all these people who are sharing these values with me, I hope they are values that have been communicated to all members of the family. I hope they are values that have been explained to all members of the family. Because if you don't explain them, if a child understands the fact about integrity, it's very unlikely that this child will tell lies when it gets out there. Even when others are doing something wrong, they're signing off a time that is wrong. Your child, because he believes in the values that you have imbibed in him already, he won't go that way. So I want you to please, I plead with everybody on this call today, when you get off this meeting, if you haven't done already, or if you have done and you've forgotten, go back and talk about it. I remember when we were growing up, my father would say something like, Omoluabi, that means a child that is well brought up does not do this. Some people will tell you a good name is better than the wealth of this world. These are values that we're talking about. The second way you can build alignment with your spouse is that you decide on non-negotiable rules together. And so it's a case of like, what is non-negotiable? No matter how much we are beefing one another, if I can use that word, no matter how much we're not agreeing with one another concerning certain things, we will not break these rules in the lives of these children. Rule number one, they cannot be out of the house beyond 8 o'clock at a particular age. It doesn't matter what or where. It doesn't matter how I feel about you or how you feel about me. These are rules. So these non-negotiable rules are the ones that flow from the values you share as a family. And then you'll be able to be steadfast with them. And so you're not contradicting yourself. You're not making the child go like a yo-yo. 1 minute he's swinging this way. Mommy says it's okay. Another minute he's swinging that way. Daddy says it's okay. You are stayed on the course. You are aligned with what is right as a family. The third thing I like to say for us to do to build alignment is that we begin to discuss our disagreements privately. This is going to be showing in almost all the secrets I'm sharing. This is very important. There's no point making noise and getting the children caught in your disagreements. Let them not watch you do this. Disagree. You can disagree. You can have your arguments. You can want to talk about anything. But please, I plead with you as parents, can we learn to do this privately? Also, cultivate the check-in before deciding. Let me explain to you what I mean by this. And so I see Olamide here. So Olamide's son walks up to Olamide and says, Mommy, Daddy says it's okay for me to do this. And you go, he says, don't worry, I'll check with Dad to find out if it's really fine. What you're doing is the child understands that there's a unity between both of you. And so he's not able to play you. Or maybe the child, I remember when my children were younger, they'll go to my husband because he was more relaxed about certain things. They want to do this to them. My husband goes, go and ask your mom. Did you get what I said? So what he has done is he has cultivated a check-in with me. So for him, it might be fine. He might not see anything wrong with it. But he knows that because of the training I have in the school system, or maybe certain things I know about the children that he doesn't know. So he's saying, ask your mom if it's fine. Can we cultivate the check-ins before we take decisions? Don't just say to your child, it's fine, you can do that, without checking in with your spouse. Because what happens is that person now begins to feel like his or her own opinion is not important. The next thing I like to talk about is be flexible in your style. If it's not an issue that is hinged on values, can we please be careful not to be rigid? There are times you can be flexible with yourselves. There are times, and like maybe you're going, no, they can't watch TV during the week for whatever reason. This is not a value question. This is more like, okay, to help them with their studies. So if peradventure there's something happening, maybe the Queen of England is getting married or something is happening and it's being televised, they've spoken about it in school, everybody's going to be watching. There's nothing wrong in you just being calm on that your style of or the stance of no TV during the week, and let them do this for once. I repeat again, flexibility is important if it is not a value issue. So I'm not saying that you say, it's okay for you to lie today. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying that be flexible in your style. So if sometimes your husband is saying, it's a big deal now, there's no big deal in this. Let them have an ice cream today. It's fine. I know they've had dinner. You can say, okay, children, treat. Of course, you're having those discussions when they're not there. You're saying, children, it's fine. You can have a treat. Everybody can have ice cream today. Be flexible in your style. Don't be too rigid. So your spouse is not saying, this one is just her own way she wants to do. As long as it is not a value issue. Please note what I said. That's very important. Thank you very much. So I'll go on. The last thing I'd like to talk about on how to build alignment is that we must prioritize consistency over preference. I'll explain what I mean by this. You have to be consistent in your dealings as partners, working together in alignment. It's not over what I want. It's not over your preference. No, it's not about you. It's about what will be good for the family. Please, I repeat myself. So it's not a selfish stance. It's not a stance of this is how I want it to be and it's that way. No, you must be consistent in the things that align with what is good for the family than over your personal preference. I hope you got what I meant there. Fantastic. I'll go on to the third secret. We're talking about parenting in harmony, and I'm sharing with you 5 secrets that I have found that has helped families. I'm talking about the issues I've observed with people. I repeat again, this seminar is not for you to learn how to deal with your teenager, how to relate with your adolescent, how to learn to be a parent to a youth. This is about you and I dealing with the foundation that is faulty. So by the time we get to the place of wanting to understand how to now relate with them, we are physicians that have dealt with ourselves. Thank you very much. I'll go on to the third secret. Secret number 3. Secret number 3. Communication that connects and not corrects. I'll repeat myself. When we talk about communication, a lot of people think it's just what you say and how you say it, and don't know. You must ask yourself, this thing I'm talking about, what is it doing? Like I'm communicating with you right now. You're listening to me. And what I plan, what my objective in doing this communication with you is for me to connect with you. It's for me to help you to understand certain things. It's for you to listen and probably to validate the words that I say, or for me to validate the words that you say. So we're saying, in essence, communication is about connecting and not necessarily about correcting. When we communicate and all we do is correct and correct, we cannot walk in harmony as parents, because things that start as small arguments or disagreements, before you know it, they slowly become tension and the atmosphere becomes toxic. The connection now disappears constantly. One parent said, we're constantly correcting each other in front of the children. I remember something that happened many years ago in one of the schools I was working in. And so these parents, it was just a general discussion we were having, and they'd come for open day, and they were leaving, and I was walking them out of my office. They stopped by in the office to say hello to me. And as we were stepping out of the office, I don't remember what happened at that point, really. The wife said something, and the husband said, no, it can't be that way. And then the wife disagreed again. And before I knew it, my dear people listening to me, everything had turned to big wahala, because the husband was insisting on correcting her. And of course, the poor woman was embarrassed because I was there. Of course, his tone was totally off. It was pretty rude in his tone. And so I found them going this back and forth. And in my mind, I'm saying to myself, oh my goodness, I hope they're not like this in front of their children. So any communication that wants to enforce correction, and you now begin to say, no, it is not about what you have said. It is the way I have said it that, you can't be parenting in harmony, because the children are watching, they're seeing you. You're not connecting with the person you're trying to talk to. You're not making the person understand. You're not listening back to the person. You're not validating the words of the person. You're not validating the person's feelings. And you're just standing on what you think is right. And what happens? The connection is lost. So what are the signs that you're not communicating well, that your communication is strained as parents? One person always feels overwhelmed. You feel like you're always dismissed. You feel defeated. You're like, have you spoken to your wife about this? You're like, oh, she won't just listen to me. Having a conversation with her is just so, it just makes me feel, what's the word? Not defeated. It just exhausting. It's exhausting. That's the word. So you're feeling overwhelmed. You're feeling dismissed, or maybe you're trying to have conversations with someone, with your spouse or with your partner. And this doesn't necessarily have to do with the children. And he just dismisses you, like, what are you talking about is rubbish. Or she dismisses you. What are you talking about is rubbish. So any parent that is feeling overwhelmed in having conversations with a partner, or feels will be dismissed. If I talk to her now, she'll just dismiss what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter. Or you feel defeated, that means your communication is strained in your family, and you cannot begin to learn on how to bring up your youth child or your adolescent child. You need to deal with yourself and your spouse also. One partner always dominates conversation. So when you're speaking, it's just that one person speaking. The person doesn't even know that you're not listening again. It is the person's voice. Because after a while, this man just kept going on, and the wife she was responding. Then I think after a while, she just said to herself, there's someone else here. There's a third party here, and she kept quiet. And the man just kept hammering on. That's what I was telling you. Or Mrs. Ibitayo, what do you think? And I'm looking there a lot. I'm like, what's Mrs. Ibitayo's business in this conversation? What do you want me to say? So the man just took over the conversation completely. If you are that person who is always dominating conversations, you cannot have harmony in your parenting skills, because it will filter, it will just flow over to every other area of your life as a parent. The third thing is, when your tones and your body language replace words in your communication, I'm sure you all understand what I'm talking about here. I'm sure some of us here are guilty because they're not listening to what I'm going to talk about. And so the person talks to you, you go, I don't know if you can see me, your hand just goes, or the person talks, and you just look at the person. Your eyes have said volumes, even though you haven't said a word with your lips, but your eyes have said a lot. Or your body language, these are the things you're now using to communicate. If that is what is happening in your home, then communication is strange. There cannot be harmony in parenting because both of you need to deal with that. If you realize that you're not talking much, the person talks, you just go, or the person talks and you just do his body language, give him coldness or give her whatever, or the tone of your voice is even very cold. Someone is trying to have a conversation. You won't believe what happened to your son today, to our son today in school. And the person goes, I'm talking to you now. I know now. Haba, I better cool down. Body language is very important. It shouldn't begin to replace words in your dealings with your spouse. It should not. Your body language must not replace words. What about being judgmental and divisive? When someone is talking and you're just like, whoa, Joe, I don't want to listen again. Or you go, you started again. That was what happened the other time. You don't even give a person a chance to prove himself or prove herself this time. You begin to talk about, you're just being judgmental. Nothing the person does is right. Nothing the person does is right. You're just so like, no. And the person just goes, okay, so what happens? If I even talk, they won't listen to me again. It's just going to begin to judge me. Something happens. I was talking to somebody last week. I'm sure you see that I'm not talking about your children, I'm talking about you. So we need to lay the foundation and deal with you and I first before we begin to talk anything about the children, because that's why we call it parenting in harmony. Secrets for us to work together as a team in our family. I was talking to somebody and she said to me, she was very upset with someone. And she said to me, she was upset with her partner. And so when we had this conversation, she said to me, he can be so dismissive about things that I find very painful. And I go, okay, what do you mean by this? She goes like, maybe something has happened to me. Maybe you cut your finger and you're trying to show him, this hurts. So you've gone ahead, you've prepared dinner, even with the hurting finger. And you go, see what happened to me. And he goes, what is this? Just a small cut on your finger. Please go and sit down. And she said, she watches him when it's some other person who is having the same thing. The guy will be all over them, perfect, total strangers. Oh, you'll be like, you have to be careful that it doesn't get infected. Have you treated it? Have you put? And the woman goes, what kind of life is this? So when you're judgmental or you're dismissive in your reactions, it shows that your communication is strained as a family. Finally, hey, let me ask you, if you do this one, you need to check yourself. You need to ask God for forgiveness. Because this is total disharmony in family. When you now begin to use children to convey messages to your partner, how many people are guilty on this call? How many of you are guilty on this call? How many of you are guilty? So you're talking about parenting in harmony. We're talking about strained communication. So you're upset with party A. And so you go, Bola, go and tell your father his food is on the table. Kind. Or the father is going out, picks the car key. Daddy, you're going out. Yes. Tell your mommy, I've gone to Mr. XYZ's house. Why now? So anytime you see yourselves doing this, it's not like you cannot talk to the party involved. Though. You're using children to convey messages. That means communication is strained in your home. Why are you bringing them into what they don't have any business concerning? And they can see it. Your children are not called to convey because before then, both of you were. So continue the way you were. And how do we deal with these strained conversations, communication? How do you improve communication? The first thing I like to say is it's important for us to speak, to be understood and not to win. What I see happen with most of us is we have conversations and we want to win in those conversations. And that's why you don't know when to stop. You don't even want to stop. And so when you start speaking, it has to be you that has the last say. Can I say something? You cannot parent in harmony when all you are doing is speaking to win, having conversations because you want to win. You want people to know that you're the one who speaks the best, who knows. You must stop doing this to improve your communication with your spouse, with your partner, with the father of your children, with the mother of your children, whatever the relationship is. I plead with you, learn to speak for them to understand you and not because you want to win an argument. The next thing is, can we look for calm timing for discussions? That's very important. I remember for a long time after we got married, my husband is a football, he loves football. That's the way he relaxes. And his team, I won't mention the team now because I'm sure there's some haters on this call right now who know them. His team will be doing very well, oh, and for some reason they'll just nosedive and they're not doing well. And so when that happens, it riles him the wrong way. He's grouchy, he's irritable. And I didn't understand that. And so I will now pick that time. I don't know if I have witnesses in the room today. I will now innocently pick that time to begin to talk about things that are important. And I'm having those conversations, and he's still thinking about one Henry that didn't score a goal that he was supposed to score. And I'm talking to him, and he now goes, yes, I heard. And I go, did you hear what I said? And he says, I said, but you didn't answer me. He says, yeah, but I heard you now. I haven't chosen the right timing. Most of us have to learn to pick the right timing for our discussions. Sometimes there's nothing wrong with the person you're speaking to. You just haven't learned the right timing for your discussions. Someone has come back from the office tired, really, really tired, bone tired, and you're choosing that time to talk about things about the children and the school. Come on. Please speak. Look for the calm timing for discussions. Also, let us listen to understand. I said we have to speak to understand, to be understood. We also must listen to understand and not just to respond. Is anybody guilty here? If you're guilty, just raise your hand like me. I've raised my hand. Like you're having a conversation with someone and you're quiet, you're listening, the person is speaking. Before the person even finishes speaking, in your mind already, you have the response already. Do I have people who are guilty like me? If you're guilty like me, just raise your hand up. So what I'm saying here is that for you to improve your communication skills, it's important for us to learn to listen. Not just because we want to respond, but for us to listen to what the other party has to say so that we can understand what the person is saying. And when we do that, we're able to now respond in a way that is intelligent and will not rile the person the wrong way. We must also be mindful of our nonverbal communication. And so you haven't exactly said anything, but you've said so much with the way you look at the person, like, see this fool, what has this person done? The things you say to the person. Please, let's be mindful of our nonverbal communications because the children, like I said, they can sense the climate in the environment. It's not just what we say. And then, Sister Esther's hand is up. Toluwa Bamijoko, your hand is up too. When someone is talking, like the person is saying something, and you're just waiting. You're not waiting to understand what the person is saying. You just jump in. And sometimes the person is saying to you that, but that's exactly what I said. And you're like, hey, that's what you said. Okay, maybe I didn't hear that. How can you hear when you're not listening to understand? And you want to both now begin to parent in harmony? It's almost impossible to do that. Mind your nonverbal communications as well. Be careful how you speak with your eyes. Be careful with your body language. Be careful the way you react around people, around your spouse, around your partner, because your children are watching this. I remember a long time ago, my son was still must have been about 5 or 6. And so one day we were going out. I was driving and he was sitting behind. And as I drove and we were going on, there was this, the way these bus drivers, these commuter buses, the drivers will be behind you. Maybe the light changes to green and they now begin to honk and they do. I don't know if it's happened with you before. And so every time that happens, I'll just wind my glass down. I'll stick my hand out there. I'll say to them, fall, meaning fly over my head. So apparently my son had been watching and listening. And so this particular day, we were at a traffic light, or maybe I was waiting, it was a hold up, and the vehicle behind me was really honking, was hooting a lot. But I was lost in thought. I didn't say anything. My son now tapped me, Oluwaseyi. He was very young. He must have been my phone. He tapped me. He said, Mommy, say 4. Mommy, say 4. I was like, wow. So I've said that to say this. Be mindful, your verbal, your non-verbal communications. The children are watching, they're listening. So my son was saying to me, say to the driver, jump. jump over my head. That's what you say all the time. So why aren't you saying it this time? And so they are watching the way we react. They are seeing what we say. They are seeing the things we do not say. Some people will say, have you seen children, 4-year-olds that you're talking to, and they're doing their shoulders like this? The shoulders speak volumes. They obviously have been seeing someone use that way, non-verbal communication way, to pass messages across. And also, how do I do this? How do I improve communication? By cultivating a safe communication relationship. And what I mean by that is, let your partner be able to know that they can express themselves without being judged, that they can express themselves without being dismissed, they can express themselves without being condemned. Let people have a safe communication relationship with you. Do you know what? Maybe the next time we have this, a lot of children are not able to tell their parents they are being abused, either verbally, emotionally, or physically, because the parents have not created or cultivated a safe communication relationship. So you will find a child who is being abused sexually by the driver, by the parent's driver. And by the time it comes out in the open and you're saying, why didn't you tell your mom? It goes, every time I go to try to talk, my mom says I talk too much. My dad says I talk too much. Please, I plead with everybody watching this. Please create and cultivate a communication safe relationship with your people. Let them see you as someone they can share their challenges, they can share their fears and their concerns with, without being dismissed, without being silenced, without being judged. A lot of children are facing bullying in school, but they can't tell their parents because the parents will say to them, are they not your mates? You to talk to them. Many of us have been guilty of that. And what happens? The child now closes up, clamps up, and begins to take everything that is happening, and it breaks them as time goes by. Please, I beg you, if you don't take anything away from here, cultivate a safe communication relationship with your partner, with the children. Let them feel safe talking to you about what they're dealing with. I move quickly to secret number 4. I'm sharing with us 5 secrets to have harmony in your parenting, in your family, in your home. The next thing I'd like to talk about is shared responsibility is important, and not silent resentment. Not silent resentment. Shared responsibility is very important, not silent resentment. Please, it's about when we talk about being parents, this is about you and I learning to be partners and being aware also of what needs to be done in our family, and equally being able to step in to do it without being asked. Let me explain to you what I mean. I'm talking about shared responsibility and not silent resentment. I see that happen a lot. And so one person feels the weight and the load of everything happening. So you're both partners. And I'd like to say this, and I want you to listen to me, both of you. The husband and the wife, the father and the mother, if peradventure you're divorced or you're separated, you are both partners in this relationship of parenting. So it's very important both of you are equally aware of what needs to be done. It's not one person's business. It is our collective responsibility. It's not a case of it's the mother's duty. It's not a case of it's the father's duty. And there must not just be knowledge of what needs to be done. It's important that we all equally are willing to step in without being asked. So it's not a case of like, this is what you have to do. This is what I have to do. And so it doesn't matter. It's not my business. I'm not going to do it. No, we are both aware that we are partners in this venture of mothering and fathering these children. And there's so much that needs to be done. And everybody must step in and be willing to do it without being asked. So the children come back from school, they have homework. It's the father that knows that has probably been helping for whatever reason is not around. And you as the mother, you come back early. So what happens? Something needs to be done. You step in and do it. That is shared responsibility. And not a case of like, no, it's not my business. It's my husband that is meant to do it. Says who? Because before you know it, the weight that one person carries now begins to tire the person out. I've had people say to me, I'm not angry. I'm just tired. I'm not angry with my husband. I'm not angry with my wife. I'm just tired. The weight of carrying all these responsibilities on me. And please, can I say this? When I talk responsibility, I'm not talking about financial obligations alone. I'm talking about the children doing daddy this, that mommy this. Everything is just on you. And the other party is just sitting pretty and not doing anything. You cannot be parents or parenting in harmony if you don't learn shared responsibility. Silent resentment is the gap between when one parent knows what to do, is expected of him, and they actually do not do it. So what happens? Silent resentment comes in, and you go, but this guy knows he should be doing this now. Why isn't he helping me? And you just begin to hate the person and you get resentful. That's not right. So how do you know that these signs are there? Silence, signs of responsibility is imbalanced in your family. The first thing is this person begins to see helping out as a favor, not a responsibility. What do I mean by that? So what happens when you do something? Maybe you take the trash out. You begin to say, I helped you to take the trash out. Helped who? Or maybe you something happened and you now go, I helped you to do the children's homework. No. Everything you do together is shared responsibility. It is both your responsibilities. You're not doing your other party a favor. So stop seeing helping out in whatever area as a favor. It's a responsibility. And the second thing is one person is always feeling overwhelmed. You're the one who does this. You're the one who does that. Everything is upon you. I call them default parents. They're the default parent. Everybody goes to them. The father goes to them, the mother, everybody just piles there. So you now become a place and a person that they all pile it upon. That's the default parent. They're saying anything. There's something in school tomorrow. Oh, I'll tell my dad about it. He'll be there. There's something to do. Something needs to be paid. Oh, I'll tell my dad about it. Everything is just on you. You're the default parent. That means the responsibility in your family is imbalanced. There's scorekeeping of hurt and offenses. There's no intimacy. You're not talking about it. There's a build-up. You're saying, yesterday, this is what he did. 3 days ago, this is what he did. 7 days ago, this is what he did. You just bottle everything up, bottle up the hurt and the offenses. There's no intimacy. There's no avenue. You're not talking about it because direct conversation is now replaced by passive behavior. You're just like, I'm not talking about this. He has said it's not his business. He's doing me a favor. You now go, you carry it on your head. You say, it's my cross. Let me carry it. There's nothing like that. You cannot parent well in harmony if you are the one carrying everything and you're keeping the scores, you're keeping tabs of what has happened. You're not having direct conversations. You begin to have passive behavior. You're just taking everything that is heaped on you. There's imbalance. Messages are communicated also through children. There's imbalance in this one as well. There must be an error there, really. That shouldn't be there. So I go on to how do we now begin to share responsibility? The first thing I like to say is you must learn to define roles clearly. And this is very important. They say what you don't know doesn't hurt you. It hurts. It hurts. Define roles. Let the children know their roles. Know your role as a husband, as a wife. Know what each person has to do. Because if you don't define roles, what happens? Everybody just assumes that it is your work or his work. And then it all piles on you. Have these conversations, sit down and discuss it. Let the strength of each person begin to determine the responsibilities they do. Oh, you're very good at this. You have a very good way with calming them down. They listen to you when it comes to certain things. By the time you give them the stern look, they listen. Let that person be in charge of this. What about me? Okay, I'll do this. This is me. I'll mind the way their food. I'll take care of this. I'll be the one to pick them from school. On their open day, you will be the one to attend. If you keep doing that, you're the superstar. You're the superwoman or the Superman. The other person will not see anything to do. So determine the responsibilities. On the days of open day, we both will attend. On the days we cannot attend, we'll do it alternate days. So if I go in first term, you will be the one to do second term. Begin to determine responsibilities. Share it according to strengths. Define the roles clearly. Don't assume. Stop assuming and stop taking it quietly. Stop being resentful. Support each other intentionally. Just go out of your way to be helpful. I think it's quite mean for one person to sit back and watch just the other party do everything. I've seen people who are co-parenting, maybe they're separated, and I watch some individuals just leave the bulk of everything to the other party. And I'm like, so how do you want to parent in harmony? How are you going to agree on things that are important and needful? Support each other intentionally. That means you make a conscious effort that you're going to support. How are you? You're busy, you're cooking, you're tired. And okay, like what happened last week, Saturday? I was tired and I just was too tired to cook. And so I was saying to my husband, I really am tired. I really am very tired. And what did he do? He moved in intentionally. He said, you know what, let's order food. So he sent my son to buy food for everybody in the house. I didn't have to cook for him. I didn't have to cook for myself. I didn't have to cook for anybody. What did he do? I didn't need to say, go and buy food. He supported me intentionally. Stop waiting for your spouse, your partner to ask for help. Step in and do something to support the person intentionally. And do you know what that did? It made me feel very good because I wasn't cooking. I wasn't stressed. I was relaxed. By the time I finished eating and what I ordered was really what I wanted to do, I felt a lot of love in my heart towards it. Support each other intentionally. And as you do this, the children are watching you. They see you do this. And so you are teaching them how to be kind intentionally. So when they go out there, they can look out for other people and be kind to them. But when they see you as a woman maltreat or be mean and nasty to your spouse, you're just teaching them that it's okay to do such things. Address existing resentment. If there are issues, address it. Appreciate contributions from the person. I just talked about my husband now. When he did that, I was saying thank you. I said thank you so many times because it wasn't the cost of the meal. It was the thoughtfulness and being intentional about doing that. Also, please, I beg you, learn to ask for help. Ask for help, learn to ask for help without blame. Please, can you help me with this? Don't say, I'm the only one always picking the children. You too, why don't you do it? And what's wrong with you? Am I the only one? Ask for help without laying blame on the person. I come to the last secret. We're just about to begin to round up. I hope you're gaining something here. I'd like you to please write in the comment section. Just tell me what you're gaining. How is this? Is there anything new you're learning? Is there anything you're going to begin to work on immediately in your family? Please begin to write it down and let me see what you are changing about yourself. I go to the last secret. We're talking about the 5 secrets to parenting in harmony. Is learn to have conflicts without chaos. You will always disagree as partners. But you must learn to do this without your home becoming a battlefield. You must do it without the children become casualties. You have to learn peace, and peace can be learned. Someone said, we thought our differences were a problem, but later we realized that we just lack the right tools. Many of us don't understand the tools to conflict resolution. And so what happens? We don't handle our conflicts well. And therefore, the partnership is what? Is strained. How do you handle conflict in your family? How do you handle disagreements? There will be disagreements, but how do you handle it? Let me show you the signs that you're not handling it well. The first thing will happen is that the original issues, they become buried. Because both of you are more concerned about winning than resolving the issue. So it now becomes buried. You have argued, you have fought. You do not come to an agreement. And so what happens? Because neither party has won, you're not able to resolve the problem. What's the problem? The child is misbehaving in school. Have we been able to resolve it? No. Why? Because we have left the issue. Each person wants to be the one who is right. And then the original issue becomes buried. And then you're now, like we said, they're keeping malice. You're not talking to one another without resolving the fire that is burning in the house. The second thing is that arguments happen without restraint. If this is what happens in your home, then there's no longer conflict. It is now chaotic. You just have arguments. There's no restraint. Anywhere you can talk to yourself anyhow. Like those couple that I told you that were getting into that argument right in front of me without restraint. That is conflict that has turned to chaos. Are you mindful where you have your arguments? Are you careful? Are you even saying to yourself, is it necessary to have these arguments? Or you are just one that has been released from the leash and you just go on and on? What kind of parents are we? What happens also? You're no longer in conflict, or it's now chaotic. Remember, I said conflicts will happen. It is a natural thing, it will happen. But it is chaotic when your children now begin to take sides. My daddy is a mean person. He's not kind to my mommy. And my mommy is a nasty person. She doesn't know how to treat her husband. They now begin to take sides. So when you're having arguments, because they have seen that the whole atmosphere is tensed, each person takes sides. I recall working with someone and she said to me that her son would always take his father's side. And I'm like, how did they get to this point? That is now like the daughters are now on the mother's side and the son is now on the father's side. When you see this happening in your home, then you're no longer having a conflict resolving issue or partnership that can be resolved easily, but it has gotten chaotic. you now begin to notice behavioral changes in children. And can I say this is very saddening? I was talking to a young guy that had issues, I mean, behavioral patterns, negative patterns that the parents had observed. And by the time I had conversations with this boy, what he said to me was that the atmosphere at home is too tense. He would rather spend time hanging out with his friends. And so every opportunity for him to be away from the home, he grabbed that opportunity and he ran with it, and he just didn't want to be home. And so the parents are going on that he's mixing with bad gangs. He's mixing with individuals he has no business mixing with. He's beginning to do, his attitude has changed. He's rude to them. He responds to them in a rude manner. He's not courteous any longer. He stays out at night. When they ask him where he's going, he's not talking. He gets moody. He wants to be in his room alone. He doesn't want to be around them. That means the home is chaotic. When you begin to observe these behavioral changes in the life of your child, you need to sit down and ask your partner if you're working in harmony and you're able to resolve conflicts without being chaotic. And then what happens? It now begins to affect how your children see marriage. What I want them to write here, it affects how the children see marriage. So what happened with me is because of what I saw with my parents, I kept saying to myself, I don't think I ever want to get married. I don't want to get married at all. I don't ever want to get married. And you know what's interesting, parents? There are many young people now who are saying the same thing. If what my parents are dealing with is what marriage is about, count me out. I don't want to have a hand in it. So sometimes you're praying, my son must get married, my daughter must get married. You don't know that the relationship you have with your husband or the relationship you have with your spouse is one of the reasons why the children are turning their back against marriage. We color their view of marriage. We color their view of having a good home. When we are not able to resolve our conflicts, these are signs of it. So whenever I hear someone say, I don't want to get married, or Mrs. Bisaramike, I don't want to get married, or I know that there's something wrong somewhere, because that's the voice that I had as well. That was what I was saying. So how do we have healthy conflict practices? How? The first thing I like to say is please learn to avoid arguments in front of the children. This is very important. Please don't bring them into your talk. Learn to avoid arguments in front of them. The next thing is aim for resolution and not victory. I see a lot of people wanting to be the winner. No, you must be ready to lose the argument as long as there's victory and you are able to resolve the issue. So it's not who has the last say. Can you please stop wanting to have the last say? Be more concerned about a resolution. How can you parent well when both of you are not able to resolve issues amicably without one person feeling like the victor and another feeling like the vanquished? Recognize conflict patterns. Okay, what leads to this? Okay, so every time I'm talking to him, this is the way he sees it. It has to do with my tone of voice. So maybe this time, let me try to change my tone of voice. Let me moderate my voice. Sit down and ask yourself, retrace your step. Why does my wife snap at me every time I bring up this issue? Look for the patterns and begin to address it and work on it. Repair everything quickly after disagreement. So whenever there's the disagreements, I beg you, please sit down and begin to repair quickly, because before you know it, everything just piles up under the rug. And one day it will just blow up in your faces and you will just be shocked at what. And then you're going on, what happened? Was it because of this small thing I said? No, Oga. No, madam. It is not because of the small thing you said, oh. It is because you failed to resolve your disagreements quickly. It has now blown out of proportion. Reassure your children of stability. Let them see you love one another. Model respect. Model problem solving. Let them see that you are adults that respect one another. Why would a child, a 6-year-old, be rude to a teacher in school? Because he sees the way his mother talks to the hired helps at home. Because he sees the way the father talks to the mother at home. And so he feels like there's nothing wrong. He can as well carry. Okay, you're talking about teaching your child how to behave. I had a young boy that was in one of the schools where I worked. And the teacher was always complaining to me about this boy being rude to girls. He was very good with the boys, but each time he talked to girls, he talked to them in a very disrespectful manner. Sometimes he moves up to them as if he's going to hit them. And so the teacher had done everything, and so she brought him to him in. And this young boy, I think he was about 5 years old then, he came into my office, he was sitting with me, I asked the teacher to excuse us. So I called his name. For this conversation, I called his name John. So I said, John, this is what I hear has been happening. Can you tell me what exactly? And he goes on, yes, it's true. So I go, but why is this? I hear you're not like that with the boys. And this boy sprung up from his chair and he started wagging his finger at me. Mrs. Abitayo, Mrs. Abitayo, my daddy says you must never let any person, any woman, that's what he said. You must never allow any woman to talk to you anyhow. I was like, sure? Your daddy said that? He said, yes. He said, so that's why I cannot take rubbish from any girl. Can you imagine a 5-year-old, 4-year-old boy already saying that? What is the father modeling? I'm asking you today as parents, what are you modeling? What is your problem-solving skill like? Can your children look at you and say, my father can be very calm in handling things. My parents are very respectful. Some of you, your children are calling your driver that is 70 years old. Okay, maybe you don't have a 70-year-old driver. They're calling the 40-year-old driver by name. They go, Tunde, and you're cool with that? You're saying, Shebi, he's a driver. I'm sorry for you. He hasn't learned respect at home. How is he going to learn to respect other people? God will help us all in Jesus' name. So we've been talking today about parenting harmony, and I've shared with you 5 secrets that will help you to live together in harmony. Please note when I started this, for those who joined us late, this is not a meeting on how to be a good parent to a youth, an adolescent, or to a teenager. This is me and you working together on ourselves as foundation. This is you and I getting it right with ourselves before we now go on to knowing how to work with our children and to do it right. The children are watching. As I say to us, these small adjustments that we make as parents would often create bigger changes in the lives of these children. When your children begin to see you model respect, when they see you solve problems easily, when they see you communicate with one another with respect, when they see you not cutting boundaries, you're not contradicting one another because you're offended with one another. Because what happens when we fight as parents, we create chaos. The children pay the price. But when we handle all conflicts with care, what happens? The children learn that relationships can survive hard moments and still remain whole. So it doesn't matter how bad the conflicts are. What happens when we learn to harmonize and we deal with them with wisdom, we deal with them with care, we deal with the other party with respect. The children learn this, and at the end of the day, it transmits to how they treat other people as well. So I'm done with that. I'd just like to go on with this. So when we came in here, I saw a lot of people saying this is what they want to learn, this is what they want to learn. And I repeated over and over again, like I just did, that this is not a meeting where I teach you how to discipline. I teach you how to communicate with your children without annoying them, or I teach you how, no, this is not it. This is me laying the foundation to teach you and I, to talk to us about what we need to deal with first. Like I said, physician, heal yourself first. So like one participant said to me after a session, she said, I came here confused, but now I feel I can see again. A lot of parents do not see. So when they bring their children for you, they want you to perform magic on that child. They're like, my son is rude, my son is misbehaving, my daughter is doing drugs, and they say things like that. And by the time we get to the foundation, we see that the parents themselves are the ones who have the problem. So what we have done this evening is talk to us to see the areas that you and I need to work on ourselves, because it's not just you. Everybody here, we don't just need information. We need transformation. We need restoration. We want the relationship to be right with us and the children. We want to be in our old age and to watch our children and to see that we have done very well. And so what that means is that there's a need to move from the place of understanding principles to a place of transformation. And this can only be achieved with structure. I promise you honestly, this can only be achieved with structure, with support and accountability. It's not something that happens just like this 1 minute or this session we've had. So this is talking about you needing a guided help for you to implement everything we've discussed, or you need to implement many other things that have happened or that you need for you to be an effective parent. So what has happened is, and I want you to listen to me, and this is now for parents who want to navigate how to parent effectively and efficiently. And so what I have put together here is what I call the 21st century parenting blueprint. Please, I'd like to repeat this. I do this, I've done this almost 30 years. So I'm not a Google teacher. I teach by experience. I've had hands-on experience, me, my children, me, my spouse, me as a minister, me as an educator, me as a teacher in school. I've sat in classes and I've listened to children, students in my class, talking about the way their parents beat up one another. I've listened to all sorts, so I have learned from the place of experience. And so I know these things apart from being trained and being certified to do it. So I'm putting together a 15-day guided coaching program. And this is for building stronger partnership and balance at home. And what I plan to do with this, by the grace of God, is to help parents move from tension and inconsistency to alignment, for them to move to unity, for them to move to emotional safety at home. And I promise you this is needed for us to groom children who we will be proud of in our old age. And so this 21st century parenting harmony is all about self-leadership and emotional awareness. You're going to be learning their parenting styles and unity. You're going to be learning in details, conflict resolution, and unified leadership, because this is really important in parenting. Oh, we're also going to be talking about time management and work-life balance. How can we be good parents? How can we be parents who will ensure that the children excel with the balance of the world we're in right now? We're going to be talking about parenting toddlers. I think somebody asked that question, and young children. We're going to be talking about parenting adolescents. We're going to be talking about parenting emerging adults. We'll be talking about discipline, different things you need to know and to learn on parenting in these 15 days. And so also, who is this program for? Okay, so this program might not be for everybody, but I tell you, it's for you. If you want me to put you through practical tools and not just theory, I mean, practical, when I say practical tools, that you will see that they are hands-on, and then you can even apply them yourself by journaling, by writing declarations for your family, by beginning to practice them and coming back to report to me or to the group about the changes you're seeing in your parenting style. If you want to be intentional about parenting and you're not reactive parents. So I see a lot of parents who are reactive, and it happens a lot. In the church, in the workplace, they come and run to you when they have problems. But if you want to be one who is intentional and you are working against you, coming against that brick wall that a lot of people face, this is for you. Or are you a single parent and you're seeking structure and clarity? You don't even know how to go about it. You're confused. Please let me say this to you. It's not just for you, man and wife. It's also for people who work with you, because your house elves are co-parenting with you. Your nanny at home is co-parenting with you. So if you're one who needs structure also, this training is for you as well. You and your spouse love your children, but you struggle to stay aligned. This training is for you. Parenting sometimes feels very heavy and stressful for you, or you desire more peace and cooperation at home. I promise you this program is for you. I repeat again, this is not a Google download. This is a life of 35, 40 years experience that I've heard that I'm going to be sharing with you in a closed group. And so what will you receive? You're going to get 15 days of guided coaching from me personally. You're going to have parenting alignment framework that you're going to be working with. There's going to be communication and conflict strategies we're learning. We'll be learning daily reflections and action steps. So for each day, the reflections we're going to be taking and we're going to be looking at, we're going to be sitting down and retrospecting, reflecting on what we need to do. And then there'll be action steps. So what have I learned today? What are the steps I need to take to make sure it works? Also, what will you receive? You'll get emotional climate awareness tools. I'll be sharing all that with you. You'll also get supportive learning community, because we're all going to be in a community. It's going to be on Telegram, and we're going to be sharing experiences and just generally talking. It's going to be a safe space, I promise you. And we're also going to be having a facilitator guidance and direction. That means I'm going to be with you 15 full days. You have my attention. You're going to be speaking with me. Well, maybe not speaking in that sense, but you're going to have my attention. I'm going to be guiding you and giving you direction. So 15 days, what will be the program outcome? What will change for you? What will be the transformation? Like I said, I'm a teacher by training, and so I'm one for transformation. It's not just loading you with information. It is how it changes your life that matters to me. And so this is going to be 15 days of me watching each change you. What will happen to you? By the end of the program, you will understand how to align as parenting partners. So that's why I plead with you. If your husband or your wife is not here, it's a place you both need to be together. You'll also learn, you will be changing for you how to respond to disagreements. I have to begin to round up. Disagreements more constructively. You'll also learn how to create more stability and emotional safety at home. I promise you honestly, I know I've worked with 3, 4, 5, 6 male, female who have gotten into substance abuse just because there was no harmony between their parents. And I'm telling you, real life, heart-wrenching experiences that I've listened to. Parents who will sob in my office that the children are doing drugs. And by the time I'm having conversations with this male, with this female, yes, it's shocking to you, females too. They're telling me about how their parents were the one who drove them out of the home onto the street by them not working together. So we're going to be learning how to create more stability and emotional safety in your home. You're also going to learn reducing tension and confusion around parenting decisions, and also how to feel more confident and intentional as parents. These are all the things that will be the program outcome for you. So it's not just 15 days of it's 15 days that will be intense and will transform your life completely. And so what is the program investment? For single participation, if you're the only one coming in, it's 40,000 naira per person. But if you and your husband are registered, and I plead with you by the mercies of God, parenting is not for one person, it's a partnership. You will be paying 70,000 naira. So if it is Mr. and Mrs. BC Ibitaya or Mr. and Mrs. Ademola Ibitaya who are coming for the program, and it's not just BC paying 40,000, both of you will pay 70,000 naira. But then there's an early bird consideration. If you register between today and the 24th of February, I think 24th is a Tuesday, then single participation will pay 35,000 and couple registration will pay 60,000 naira. I encourage couples to please join in this. I repeat this for those who know me. I have never put any money or value on anything I do. I've always done all for free. But I promise you honestly, for me to be coming out to do this is not solely because of what I want to earn. It's because I see a need, a vacuum that I need to fill. That's why I'm doing this. And whatever it is, value I'm putting on it, I promise you what I'm going to be given is not this, what you're paying is not going to match up to that. When I do personal and individualized coaching, I do 1 hour, I know what I charge. So if I'm charging you 40,000 naira for 15 days, I promise you it's a kill. And I want you to please take this opportunity and register. The link for registration will be dropped in you'll see it there on YouTube, is going to be dropped. We have a WhatsApp group. I'm going to put it there as well. So if you register today, and you signify your intention to be part of it today, between now and Tuesday, you get the early bird registration. I plead with you again, you cannot do this thing alone. You can't walk it alone. It's important that you walk with your spouse. So parenting in harmony is not about perfection. That's all I've been talking about today. It's just about intentional partnership. It's about both of you making up your mind that this has to work. So when parents grow, when you grow together in partnership, your children will flourish. And at that point, I'd like to say a big thank you to you for your time with me. We've been doing this for 90 minutes. And so it's time to take questions. If you have questions, you have reflections. Do you have questions? Questions, please go ahead and type questions. It's time to take questions about what I've spoken about. You want clarity on anything, please, I'd like to hear us. Questions, clarity, questions. I'm waiting. Do we have questions? Please type your questions in if you have questions. Questions about the program. So the link is there for you to register if you want to register for the 15 days of guidance and coaching with me. Or you know someone who needs it, it would be nice for you to copy the link and share. So do we have questions? It's time to take questions. Please don't go yet. We're done already. We have an affirmation we're going to read together. Thank you very much. You're welcome, Olayinka. Thank you. Thank you for the fact that it was enlightening. Do we have questions? Do you have questions? Do we have questions? I'd like to take questions right now. Please go on your comments, your questions. I see one here. It was an enlightening session. Please tell me one thing you're taking away if you don't have questions. But if you have questions, please go ahead and ask your questions right now as we begin to round up. I'm waiting. Do we have questions? Okay. While we're waiting for questions, I'd just like to say this to us, that children thrive best when parents, not because parents are perfect, but when we're united. I've seen that a lot in my home, and I've seen it in the homes of other people as well, that children will always thrive, not just because the parents are perfect, but because parents are united. Someone says, okay, yeah. Someone says what is taken away today, Adetunjo Motaya says, is that it should not be assumed that it can be handled by one person. And I promise you, it's not one person's job. That's why the Bible made it two. That's why the word of God made two people. It takes two people to make a child. It can't be handled by one person. So how do you avoid resentment building up? The first thing I like to say to you, Esther, is learning to talk about the issues. A lot of times resentment will build up because we don't talk about it. Look for a conducive time, a time that is, like I said, a calm timing, a time when that person is not tired, a time when that person is not irritable. A lot of times, a time when you've just gotten off an argument is not a time for you to want to begin to calm or to soothe nerves. Look for a time when it is calm, when it's not the person, there's nothing that is heating up the person right now. So that's a very good time for you to begin to talk about things. Or else, if you're not careful, do you know also building up resentment has been said that is part of the reasons why people end up with some terminal diseases. That when you build up resentment, it builds up toxicity in your body. I don't know if my big sister, Ope Okulaja, is here. She's a health person. And when that happens, all the toxins in your body, what happens? It begins to grow. And sometimes people end up with terminal diseases, heart attack, high blood pressure, that leads to diabetes, even cancer. That's why the Bible says if Mary had does good like medicine. So please, Esther, I plead with you, look for opportunities to talk about it, not in a judgmental way or a condemning way, but just expressing how you feel and wanting the person to understand or wanting to understand from that person's perspective why that is happening. Okay, so this person says, what time will the sessions be daily? Thank you for that question. It's a self-paced session. So what happens is every day I will drop videos for us on the group, the Telegram group, and you will have assignments you have to take. If you have questions, you will come back to the group to ask. So it is self-paced, but every day we will have what we do. Every day comes with what we're learning. It comes with the action plans. It comes with what we need to do for that day. Maybe you're writing your family affirmations. I'm guided. So every day has what you have to deal with, but it is your own time. It will be dropped very early in the morning and you could always come to it. But the point is, by the end of each day, you must have caught up with everything that needs to be learned. Thank you for that question. When does the session start? The date is there. It starts on the 16th of March, 2026. That's when we're going to begin. And it's for 15 days. 15 days of learning, of guidance, and facilitation. Okay. I don't know if you have any more questions. I'd like us to take this declaration. I don't know if you can see, the prints are pretty tiny. Let's see if I can zoom in. Okay, can we see that? I want us to read that together wherever you are at right now. Please, can we read this affirmation together? It's a family harmony affirmation declaration. In the name of Jesus, please read wherever you are. I declare that wisdom rests upon my home. Where there has been tension, unity is released. Where there has been strain, grace is multiplied from today. We will function as partners in my family, not as opponents. We will communicate with understanding from today and not frustration. We will lead our children with clarity, stability, and love. I decree that our home becomes an environment of emotional safety. Our home becomes a place of mutual honor and spiritual strength. Our children will thrive because alignment is being built between my partner and I. What once felt difficult, it now becomes easier for us. What seemed fragmented begins to come together. Grace for harmonious parenting rests upon me and my spouse from today. Our family begins to flourish. Our home will stand in peace. All these and more, I declare in Jesus' mighty name. Amen and amen. So I don't know if we have any questions. Yes, the session starts on the 16th of March, 2026, and it runs for 15 days. And so there's going to be a lot more of this. I'm going to drop this in the WhatsApp group. Please, I plead with us. This is not just a place to come to. It's a place to learn. It's a session. It's 15 days of transformation. And I promise you honestly, as you do this and you begin to imbibe this in the lives of your children, you also are transferring this to the lives of people around you. I promise you, we're going to have a better place and a better world. And on that note, I'd like to say we've come to the end of this session today. I'd like to say a big thank you to you for spending 95 minutes or thereabout with me or more. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining me today. And I hope you're going to be signing up for the 15 days partnership program, the 21st Century Parenting Blueprint. I look forward to having you in a closer, more confined environment where we can have a safe space to learn more, to glean from me as I also glean from you. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Olabisi Bitayo, and I call myself the Inspirer. The Lord bless you, and I hope everything you've learned today, you're going to begin to put to use and also going to teach other people as well. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.